world where comics, movies, games, rumors, and Kardashians come at you 24/7, 3 champions will rise to defend you from wasting precious time, money, and emojis. BK, Nate, and Derreck will show you how to do it the player way.
Ladies and gentlemen and everyone in between, this is your boy BK. It is on once again for return once again. You guys would have no idea that we've recorded this like twice already, but we're going in. We're going to do it live with my boy Derreck.
I am here, and I am definitely abiding by my own mantra of corrupting the system. Even my system will do it for me at times.
And Nate, take a couple extra hits for us, brother. Are you there?
Yeah, and I feel like I haven't been doing very well as Derreck's spiritual advisor because
I'm stressed. The spirit stones you sent me are doing nothing for me, Nate. I think these are just whiskey stones.
Well, they're actually just rocks I found outside.
and that is why the luck there is none right now. Ladies and gentlemen, what you are witnessing right now is 3 gentlemen who very much enjoy their quality time with one another, talk with one another, who have sacrificed having their weekly call with each other separately to create what is called the Player Way Podcast. So what we like to do, as you already know, is episode 13, so you should already know, but if you are new and you are a noob, welcome. What we do is we help you, after a hard 40 to 60 hour work week, we help you curate your free time and media
the player way.
That's right. And let's go in. What are you guys up to this week?
Well, this week I did a lot of Netflixing. I watched this documentary that I think you might enjoy called Nobody Speaks, Trial of the Free Press, which deals with the Hogan versus Gawker trial and his absurd amount of money that he got rewarded, over $100 million. You find out...
Oh, yeah. I saw this on Facebook. I was very interested in that. Like, I saw ads for it on Facebook, but I couldn't remember what the name was. So this is about, like, when he was diddling the funny bits of that female on camera, right?
Yeah, which is really weird. It was the wife of his best friend. And he's basically, what are they called? Like cuckolds? Guys that watch other people have coitus
New Orleans.
with
Sounds
his wife.
like you... I love that terminology. It looks like you might... there are certain tube channels you might be surfing to get that terminology down so
well, that's
perfectly.
essentially what it was.
Fetish.
It was the wife of his best friend. His best friend watched as they engaged in coitus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man. If you're into that sort of thing. What are you going to
do, brother? When the Hulk starts digging.
He's looking at him. He's looking at him while it's going down. What are you going to do, brother? What are you going to do?
He tears off his shirt in true Hulkamania fashion and right before he gets started.
He's wearing a feather boa.
Yes.
You know.
Wags his finger when it's something he doesn't like.
Girl, you ready to get some of this new world?
Yes, the new world with the black spray painted beard on his face.
Exactly. Well, while we think Hulk Hogan having sex on camera is funny, Hulk thought it was no laughing matter, and neither did his constituents who helped pay for his trial. Isn't that right?
Yes. So it dives in a bit deeper into the trial, and you find out that a Silicon Valley billionaire, Peter Thiel, has this personal vendetta against Gawker. And he basically financed Hulk Hogan's defense. And, and it showed because Gawker no longer exists. Both founders are bankrupt.
Yeah, dude.
And he set out to do exactly what he wanted to do. And he did it as sort of because Gawker put out an article basically outing him.
Yeah.
So, and then it goes into what's to stop other billionaires from trying to sue other, news publications, things like that. And
That's what's up, man. That sounds like very interesting. I would love to get into that. The other interesting thing on Netflix was Castlevania this week, right? Didn't you guys both watch that?
We did, yes. And it's 80 minutes of fun. Really short. I personally felt like it was really short, that they could have kind of taken their time a bit and released a few more episodes, but that's me. Derek, what did you think about Castlevania?
I liked how gory it was, surprisingly. It was an interesting story, but I really enjoyed the action scenes. He was a surgeon with that whip. And when I say a surgeon with the whip, I'm reminded of this scene when he crept into town, saw the crooked men of the cloth about to beat an old man with a golden staff, and whoosh, whip that middle finger out. How's your finger?
Man. Now was this Simon Belmont in this one?
No, his descendant, Trevor Belmont.
Oh, okay, that's what's up. Okay, so they really are going all the way back to like the original NES type of story and kind of starting over.
I think this is sort of the story from like Castlevania 3.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. I heard Jonathan Barron on Weekly Games Chat, shout out to him, talking about that, and he mentioned something about Castlevania 3. I never played that game, so I'm not quite sure. I've not been a huge Castlevania person anyway. I played the old school first one with that.
Do you guys remember back in, they had a cartoon show with like Mega Man.
Captain N.
Was that what it was called?
Wasn't it Captain N?
I think so. It's just
Captain N is the guy with the belt. With the belt, he had the NES controller
belt.
It
had like,
and he could start. He could pause and stop time by pausing. He could press the forward button and make himself move faster.
Yeah, and it had Simon Belmont in there. I remember.
That's why I always think of Simon Belmont when I think original, because I was one of the few people who remembers that show. That show was it. Like that. Like I wanted to be the guy in the Letterman jacket with the N on it, who got put. And like I remember, I got in trouble because I like cut up like my NES controller and cut off like the cord so I could try to put it on my belt, but then it wasn't really a belt buckle, so I just got in trouble with my mom because we really didn't have money to be doing stuff like that, and she sold my NES after that, and it made me very sad. But it was my fault. But I wanted to be Captain N, and that's the moral of the story.
Fair enough.
And speaking of story, as Derek said, this was gory, and so they went in with it. They cussing. Was it your mama's anime?
No.
And I wouldn't really. I mean, it was animated, but this was recorded in English, English voice actors the whole way. It wasn't. As our antiquated term of Japanimation, as we used to call it when we were teenagers.
It makes my ears bleed to even hear that term, but that's what it was said. That's what we called it in the 90s.
But it's as Nate mentioned earlier, it's a fun 80 minutes. This is Netflix has done this often, where they take an animated movie and cut it into episodes, and that's what this is. So it's a good watch. I mean, it's entertaining. I enjoyed it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Exactly. Now, I didn't quite make it over to Netflix because after we talked about All or Nothing last week on Amazon, I stayed over in the giggly bits of Amazon because I was like, that's a bit of a treasure trove of like documentaries and fun stuff. And Amazon actually updated their queue this week. Boomerang was on there, which is a classic with the mushroom belt, the mushroom socks, the mushroom, shirt, belt buckles, everything. You got to coordinate. You know what I'm saying? So I was really excited about that coming back. But then on top of that, I ended up stumbling onto American Playboy, the Hugh Hefner story. And that was a fun docu-series. It's kind of hard to call it a documentary because while it is a documentary, it follows the same kind of storyboarding that Making the Mob on AMC did when it was on. They did like 3 seasons of that. And where there's on one half of the show is this documentary style, and then on the other side it's actually this really well produced film. So like you have these scenes where you actually get to see Hugh Hefner doing his thing back in the day, Marilyn Monroe being reenacted, but then you also have people who historically were there at that time where Hugh Hefner actually does talk about it using old newsreels and things like that. And they do a great job with it. They even say in the opening episode that the guy who plays Hugh Hefner, he's like, I think his name is Matt Whalen, but he says, this is my story, or at least how I remember it. So they do a good job of saying if you don't agree with it, or if the history books somehow disagree with it, it's told from Hugh Hefner's perspective. And boys, when I say it is told from Hugh Hefner's perspective, I mean inside the bed with the covers on, getting the business. His perspective, like the opening episode, there is so much more nudity. You know how, like, when you watch, I don't care how long you are with the woman that you love or your significant other, no matter how long you are with them, like, if there's something that's slightly pornographic that comes on the television that you didn't expect it, like when Skinamax comes on at 2 or 3 in the morning, and like you didn't expect the boobage to just fall out, and you're like, oh, ew, this is disgusting. I didn't really want to watch this.
I never want to see
it's like
these attractive women and see what's under their clothes. Can you believe they let this mess on TV? I am shocked and appalled. Someone's going to get a strongly worded email. I may even bust out the feather.
Who ordered this? I didn't even order this channel. Ew. Like, it's like I believe that it was in conversations like those where the phrase "more than a handful is wasted," that lie was perpetuated, just to make your woman feel better or something like that. Like different things like that. Like I feel like that's when those awkward things happen. But anyway, with all the awkwardness, it was an amazing. It's an amazing story, not just because of the boobs, but also because it's our history as a country of one of the biggest empires when it comes to magazines and popular culture, and what Hugh Hefner had to go through, him being his house being raided by the CIA, FBI type of situation because they think he's a smut. I can't even think of the word, but anyway, it was a lot. It's a fun series if you're a history buff and you also just like to see naked bodies. It's the show for you on Amazon. So.
Hit it with that Nate, that good piece. Amazon's really stepped up their series because honestly, I want to say up until maybe late last year, not many Amazon original series, and this thing is very highly publicized. I mean, they said a quick blurb here just on IMDb about what you were just saying. They have over 17,000 hours of footage and over 2,600 scrapbooks from his personal archives.
Dude, when they actually go into detail, they show him sitting on the floor of his living room putting together the first issue of Playboy. This man is not in a print room. This man is cutting and pasting, not through a laptop like we do C and P, like Control C, Control P. It's he's actually doing it, clipping and cropping. It's amazing. So it's an amazing story to watch. So Derek, what you up to this week?
Up to this week, the forthcoming week, or what have I been up to besides what Nate and I were chatting about?
Yeah. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Well, honestly, besides the Castlevania, I've been filling my time a lot lately over the past few weeks with Borderlands 2, but I'm not going to bore you guys with video games talk. But outside of that, I'm still keeping up on our DBZ Super. I feel like the last episode was a little interesting, but the biggest thing I was really this is all just semantics leading up to what I was really excited about doing this weekend. Which after I got off work yesterday, I went to the theater.
Oh, okay.
BK.
Oh, you ready to get that box office hustle rolling?
Yeah, let's do that.
Quiet on the set. Can you please have quiet on the set?
Yes, can I have your picture, please? Box office hustle.
All right, it's time for the box office hustle.
All right, cut and print. Beautiful guy.
Box office hustle. Derek, take it away.
Well, this is the third installment. I can't believe it's been 6 years since we first met Caesar. Nurtured and loved by James Franco, who had a huge role in Alien Covenant. And it was very good to see. Speaking of Alien Covenant, it made 6 cents. Went to go see War for Planet of the Apes late last night, and it was excellent. It was an excellent film. It was very telling of. It was a war movie. It felt to me. I know Nate, I believe Nate saw it as well, but to me it felt like had the feel of like an old time war movie where you actually see like the grit, the gumption, the sacrifices, the tough decisions of actually what war is, and just this and it really timelined this beautifully at the beginning of the movie, letting you know it's been about 15 years in this Apes universe since the I can't think of the name of the virus. Starts with an S. It's very simian. Do you remember the name? Anyway.
The simian flu is what they call it.
Simian flu, yeah. It's been 15 years since that started taking over humanity, and this kind of progresses how it's just very degenerative to the human species. And how the apes, led by Caesar, are still just pretty much wanting to chill in the woods. That's it. That's all they want. To just enjoy life, their family, their children, and just procreate and live and just educate themselves and have a peaceful life. But, you know, there's humans involved, so we can't let damn dirty ape outsmart us.
So I actually did not get to see that this weekend, but I'm actually, that sounds really interesting to me. They have kept the simian flu like story arc.
Yes.
Absolutely.
How has it progressed?
It's.
Do you want to be
spoiled?
Ahead,
yeah. I mean, hey, we always do spoiler cast. Let's do it live.
So what it does now is they go into it's like Derek touched on. It's degenerating humans further to the point where now they can't even speak. So, you know, it's
wow.
Not all humans, but people that are getting like this new wave of a virus will lose
the virus has evolved, BK, and you know, if you remember in the first one, John Lithgow was they thought it was something like Alzheimer's that he was going through, but he was actually like the first stages of this, you know, which has, you know, led to the whole, you know, in essence, creation of Caesar. But now you're just seeing this almost just humans devolving into like just food, water, and shelter, and not even knowing how to provide that for themselves. And
so is that kind of like so when you see Woody Harrelson's character, is that kind of what he's like? Is that why he's a bit of a warmonger, like we see in the trailers?
Oh man, if you thought you hated Samuel L. Jackson in Kong Island,
Kong, you'll hate
Island,
Woody Harrelson in this movie.
Lord.
From the get-go. Yeah,
my goodness, he plays the heck out of this role. I mean, he was a war. Yes, he was a war colonel. I mean, this guy, he has an excellent scene late in the movie that perfectly describes his character and why he is, but also makes perfect sense for what he's doing. Now, I know we usually do spoiler cast, but it's to directly answer your question, BK, it's exactly why. He's doing what he feels is best for humanity. And how often do you and I say the difference between heroes and villains are just their agenda? And he definitely has an agenda.
Yeah, he definitely realizes like humans are on the losing end of the battle. He knows this. You know, so
there's this desperation that you feel.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And so let me ask,
you know,
something that I experienced at the Rise of the Planet of the Apes was this moment where I realized I was rooting for Caesar and not rooting for myself.
Yeah.
Is that conflict still going as a viewer?
Yeah, and that kind of, I wanted to say this one thing because I watched the movie along with Derek, and someone give fucking Andy Serkis like an Oscar,
please.
You know,
please.
What he achieves in a mocap suit is just amazing. You know, the emotion they give these apes and various animals you see in these movies. It's like, God, Lee, man.
Let's take a second on that. Nate, every time I saw Maurice, I was completely convinced I was looking at a legitimate orangutan that had sign language and could say a few human words. It was only, I want to say, maybe 3 parts in the entire movie that I'm like, okay, I can clearly tell that was CGI, but for the other 97% of it, I mean, this is incredible. Incredible. Like, I am looking at actual gorillas, chimps, and orangutans. Like, these look real. These look like, I'm like, where did they cast these actors? Like, it was incredible. Like, at no point did I feel like I was looking at fake animal in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it was just magical. And Andy Serkis, oh my God, it was every emotion, every wrinkle, every hair, his teeth, his grit, that smirk, the human qualities, and then they touch on that so well in this movie. Just what the human element does to war, where you see how it's almost as infected Caesar, and then they're both on either side of it, but still fighting in essence for the same cause. It was a powerful movie. Like it's really good.
You mentioned Maurice. Maurice is able to say human words. So in this time skip, not only has the virus progressed, but have simians themselves progressed to be able to interact with humans via speech?
Yes.
Previously, Caesar was like the only one that could talk.
Not as much as you would think, but you see like it really starting, like more and more.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nick. No, I was just going to say one thing about that, and it also makes it believable. And by them timelining it 15 years, in essence, you're looking at a 15-year-old chimp in Caesar who can communicate very well. And then you have a certain, like his circle of close apes that can communicate decently, broken English, but very efficient at sign language. Almost every single ape you see could do sign language.
Okay, so they can interact via speech, not just grunting.
Yes. Like they
Gotcha.
still have
That's
their ape
interesting.
qualities, but we're communicating with sign language and English to get to speak to other apes and to humans. And but to get back to my original point about the timeline, it makes, like when Nate mentions not as much as you would think because of how advanced Caesar is, and I had that same thought, but then I went back after I watched it, and I was thinking, but then again, when this also kind of makes sense, you got to think how much he has to put in, because not every single ape is going to be at the same genetic, I guess, set of that Caesar is, because Caesar's son was more advanced than the next ape, than Koba was in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, those type of things. And they just kept it so well, like everything was streamlined. I mean, it was. I definitely recommend this movie, BK. Like it's
very
a great
much
installment.
like it reminded me a lot of Logan, so much so that I almost wish they called the movie Caesar, gave the same sort of poster treatment as Logan, just Caesar.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in this, like, so much so that he has to reluctantly take care of this girl, that doesn't speak.
That's right. Reminds me of
Reminds me of someone.
Hits the same sort of beats.
Okay,
it really
you got
does.
a little. Okay. Don't say any more, because I see I smell what the Rock is cooking right now.
Yeah,
I like the parallels between being something that couldn't speak at one time and interact, but then at the same time it's cute and cuddly, and somebody remembers them being themselves at that time, being something like that. Okay,
and you
will. Y'all are twisting my arm a little bit.
You'll love
my arm a little bit.
You'll love Steve.
Got to give my shoulder a little pat.
This movie.
That's what's up.
Do you mean Dobby?
Yeah. I mean, Steve Zahn's very underrated actor. He's very good, and he plays one damn good ape. He's funny. Yeah.
I couldn't get over just. I mean, I know I keep coming back to it, but I just couldn't get over just how realistic it looked. Like, it was just so. I mean, I was just completely mesmerized. So much so where my girlfriend watched it earlier in the day with her daughter, and her daughter asked, "Was this real?" And now, like, I know that's like a kid asking, but still, a 10-year-old like, "Is this real?" Just because the style of
the line is blurred. Yeah.
Yes, and so of course we had to inform her that of course it's real, and there's still apes out there in California that can do this, because this is a documentary based on an event that happened in human history. But man, it's just incredible just to see something like this. And then I look at other movies that are made and created right now. I'm like, y'all need to step your game up. Just with, I mean, like Power Rangers.
Speaking of amazing and taking it to the next level and watching your game and stepping your game up, we're going to come back around to this war for the Planet of the Apes, because there's a war for the box office against our friendly neighborhood Spider Person.
Absolutely.
So we're going to come back to that for that.
There's some other talk about some
speaking
wars.
of Marvel films, man, speaking of other wars, there is an infinite war happening right now, not just between Marvel and DC, but between Marvel and taking our money at DC 23 this week.
Yeah, D23. Disney 23.
What did I say?
You said
You
DC,
said DC
23. And you also said it's a
I
war
said
between
DC
Marvel
23.
and DC, but we know it's a massacre.
Yeah.
But anyway, D23, take it away, Nate.
D23, Disney's sort of convention to announce their upcoming projects, both animated, Pixar is there, Lucasfilm's there, Marvel is there. They even released some tidbits about their plans for their resort parks, especially Star Wars Land out in Orlando.
Man.
A completely immersive experience is how they described it.
Sleep in space.
I will be the first one there.
I'm just ready for the first report of people disappearing into the Disney park and like creating shanty towns to just live as real Jedi. like they're gonna find these kids that like went away from their parents and like 15 years later they found them in the bowels of the park and
gathering strength from each ride.
Gathering.
If I can grab a bite to eat and drink some blue juice at the cantina in Tatooine, I'll be a happy man.
Oh no! Here's the other thing you're going to be hearing reports of is people shooting Greedo in his suit.
Moment of silence for any of the actors that have to play Greedo at the park.
Just don't get the wrong dude in that suit, and he's going to like take it out on everybody.
Yeah. I quick touch-ups on stuff that they announced outside of Marvel. Pixar.
Yeah, man.
And that, showed the first footage of Incredibles 2, which I'm kind of excited about.
Woo, finally!
Incredibles.
Finally! Yeah. Oh my gosh.
They showed footage from what's that? No,
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, they showed footage from the Lion King movie they're making. Jon Favreau's directing it. He did such a good job on Jungle Book. They said, hey, let's do the same thing to Lion King. You don't seem like you're too pleased about it.
Did you see Jungle Book, Nate?
I did. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
It was again, the animation on that one was sick.
I don't remember
looking at
the
Maurice
old
like
Disney
King Louis.
movie.
Huh?
So I didn't remember the animated movie at all. So to me,
come on, you don't remember the bare necessities?
Well, I mean, everybody knows song.
That's how that's how a bear can rest at ease, man, with just the bare necessities of life. Man, that is just come on, bro.
An old car, trust me. Yeah, I remember that one definitely. I mean, the live action one I thought was really good. The animation, I mean.
Donald Glover's going to be Simba. They got James Earl Jones back for Mufasa.
Man, yes.
Seth Rogen and someone else is going to be Timon and Pumbaa. I forgot. I think
Makes
Seth
sense.
Rogen's going to be Timon.
Billy on the Street. Billy Eichner. Billy Eichner is going to play Timon.
Okay, then Seth Rogen's going to be
like from
Pumbaa.
Billy on the Street.
John Oliver's going to be
exactly.
the parrot, the toucan.
Yes.
Zazu.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You better know them names, Derek.
Yes, sir.
John Favreau's a hell of a director, so
you don't wear out VHS tapes 22 years ago for nothing.
Exactly.
And
who am I kidding?
Dude, and then I heard about Aladdin. Did they break the news that Will Smith is going to be Genie in Aladdin?
Yes.
And I'm here to Gretchen Witches.
The Pink Ranger's going to be Jasmine.
Yeah, she's perfect.
And it's some unknown actor that's going to be Aladdin. Guy Ritchie is directing.
Shining, shimmering, splendid.
Dude, the thing that was so intimidating to me as a moviegoer was to see, you know how Marvel came out with that like big wall of movies, like in all of the logos? Disney did this at D23 with every Star Wars film, every Marvel film, and every like Marvel mainstay film all on one big board. It was like, this is how we're going to dominate everyone in the movie industry.
Disney's just printing money at this point.
Man. And what's crazy, they've been doing it for so long. We talked about this on a few episodes back, how they're able to like Beauty and the Beast. That's what we talked about. They're able to just dip in. Oh, here's a classic. Let's do this. Boom. Yeah.
And they're starting to do that. They've announced like Mulan. I think that's starting pre-production.
Mulan will be amazing if they actually go straight like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
As they should. They
Jet
will.
Li's hero.
I feel like they will.
If they go that way, dude.
Yeah, and they said they were going to go with like a majority Asian cast too.
And then they got to bring Eddie Murphy back. You got to.
Yeah,
Eddie Murphy definitely made that film.
I don't think he's doing anything right now. So
But we've given enough honorable mention to the kitty bits. It's time to get on to what we really care about, which is the Infinity Gauntlet, man. The real life Infinity Gauntlet held up by a jacked Josh Brolin. He looked amazing. He has his full cable bod on, dude.
I don't even think that's his final form, man.
Doesn't he look amazing? I was like, Josh Brolin has never looked this jacked in his life.
No.
I had my doubts until I saw him just now. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
you're giving it to us. This is going to be that, and then the Infinity Gauntlet being like life size, how big it is, and then those realistic statues of what's the name of that group?
So that's the Black Order. They were introduced a few years ago in a storyline called Infinite by Jonathan Hickman. He had this epic like 3-4 year run on the Avengers, comic book wise. So I think they're going to draw inspiration from both the Infinity Gauntlet storyline from the early 90s or late 80s, whenever it was, and this most recent Infinite storyline that he did. So the Black Order essentially they call them his children, sort of in the same vein as Nebula and Gamora were his children. Yeah. But they are who he sends out to retrieve the Infinity Stones.
Okay, so all of these stories that we've been hearing in Guardians of the Galaxy of how they were tortured growing up to be these warriors, we see what he was training them to be in the Black Order.
Yes, correct. And I think that's so basically in the movie, if I had to take a guess, which I would imagine a pretty good one, is you'll see them being sent out to various locations, trying to retrieve the Infinity Stones.
What do you think, like a series of like mini fights or something, like encounters, or do you think that'll just be okay?
I mean, you got to think of where these things are. One is in Collector's Lair. One's in the Nova Corps.
One whole Infinity Gauntlet is in Asgard.
Yeah. Well, and then you got Vision.
What was the name of the comic book series that? And forgive me, because you talked about a different comic book series that Thanos was the. Was it like Thanos Chronicle or something like that, where in the comic they show him getting every one of the stones?
I don't know. They've actually done a few where he was gathering the stones.
Yeah.
The most recent has been the Infinite storyline, which,
okay,
he does gather them again.
I'm thinking about a different one. I can't think of the name of it. I have to Google it, but like it's like Thanos Chronicle or something like that. It reminds me of that, and I'm hearing that I've been reading online that's like the comic that they're going to be also bringing in for that as well.
Yeah. They released the trailer, which sounds pretty epic.
Well, they didn't quite release the trailer. Like, they played it for the people who went to D23.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not actually live. If you go to lifeyourway.com, to the Play Your Way Network, Alex Maldonado has written an article. By the time this comes out, it will be up, and he'll give a play-by. Actually, it's up now. He's done an update to it, and there's actual, like, a guy who went there to D23. He does a verbal retelling of what he saw since he can't put it online, and he takes like scenes from other Marvel films and pictorials and then like puts it together, and you kind of get an idea. I mean, to the point where how the Guardians, we've always been wondering how the Guardians are going to be making it to Earth. Well, it's because they're going to pick Thor up along the way after he kind of gets beaten up, probably at the hands of the Black Order. And so they kind of transport him back to Earth, and that's how Peter ends back up on Earth again. So, and supposedly when he ends back up on Earth again, it's already been decimated in search of the Infinity Stones. So that's my mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yes.
Gentlemen,
I just hope I don't die.
If you have an erection that lasts more than 4 hours, you should go to the hospital.
You should broadcast it and be proud.
But what about one that lasts all the way until 2018?
I've had an erection that's been lasting for the last 10 years.
We are less than a year away from this release. Less than a year.
Yeah.
From 2008 Iron Man, we have worked all the way up a decade.
It's amazing. What they've accomplished is unprecedented. Over $12 billion over the last 10 years.
Speak on it. Did you see, bro? Did you see the logo for
the 10-year
Marvel
anniversary?
Studios? That logo is so sexy.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, good on them. Like,
very much so.
On Reddit, they sort of did a before and after picture of when they announced the first Avengers cast at Comic-Con, and they brought all of them on stage, and then they did this one at D23 with, everybody that was in attendance. They didn't have some of the, like, Chris Evans wasn't there, Chris Pratt wasn't there, but basically, like 30 people on stage for this photo op. It's amazing. Like, this movie, I can't imagine.
Dude, look how many jobs and careers this has revitalized, engaged, just brought back to light, got people other
you want to
jobs.
You want to talk about careers that have been revitalized by Disney and D23. Look over here at Daisy Ridley's situation, man. Over here, man, with playing Rey, and we get this, this cinematic masterpiece of a trailer teaser. I don't even know what to call it other than a featurette that came out to show you what The Last Jedi is going to be. And hearing Mark Hamill, you've heard these rumors about Mark Hamill being upset with the direction that the directors have taken and the writers have taken. It's not what he would have wanted, but he says in this featurette, this universe going in a direction I would have never thought, and yet it's appropriate 100%. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps right now. Like, we live in a world where The Last Jedi is coming out, and in less than a year after that, Infinity War happens.
Yeah.
From the same studio.
And they coexist within the same coffers. And yet DC is out here just trying to get it off the ground.
We're going to lose our mind when we see Thor and Luke shake hands or something.
What did you say we're going to do?
We need one more soldier for this Infinity War, and his name is Luke Skywalker.
That's another thing that they announced was Wreck-It Ralph 2, which will include characters from Star Wars and Marvel.
Yes.
Basically the film version of Kingdom Hearts, where they basically bring in all of these Disney characters in just to make money off of them.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. Man. They have created an empire. Like, they already had an empire. I don't even know what this is called now. It's not even a monopoly. It's just they are the industry. And at the same time, while they've created this empire, something that none of us expected happened this week, and that takes us into the gentleman's bet for this week.
Bets. Place your bets here. We got a gentleman bet right over here. Let's get it going, boys.
So, even though we didn't make a gentleman's bet about War for Planet of the Apes, I think we need to kind of be thinking about what's going to happen on the landscape, because something weird happened, wouldn't you say, this week, Derek?
Absolutely. This kind of goes back to your prediction, I want to say late May. You mentioned just with the economy's kind of downturn, and just going to the movies it's not weekly anymore. People don't do it weekly. It's cyclical. You want to do it when it's something you really want to see, or if it's something everybody else is going to see. That way you don't want to be lost on the office cooler talk. That's why we're here on the Player Way podcast. And what happened this weekend was, after an incredible opening weekend called by BK, of course, and Planet of the Apes ate into those weekend profits. Spider-Man came in at number 2 this week, dropping all the way down to $45 million, which is what, like a 60% reduction. Let me look at Box Office Mojo. Yeah, 61.4% drop. Yeah. While War of Planet of the Apes came in at $56.5 million. And scrolling down here.
That's crazy.
Go ahead. Oh, I didn't hear what you said. My bad.
I was just saying that's crazy.
It is, man. Like War is a good movie, but
I would. Yeah, War. Well, see, it's funny because we had talked about that when we were talking about Baby Driver, and I was saying how on the landscape is coming. In fact, we were even talking about this when we were talking about what our next logo is going to be. And we were discussing War for Planet of the Apes, and between the three of us, it was kind of like, well, is this going to even be that popular? What is it going to be? And let's be realistic. It only made it didn't even break 50 mil, right?
It did 50,
or did it break
56 and a half? 56 and a half. Decent opening.
Do you have worldwide numbers yet? Probably not.
Yeah, I can get you those.
Yeah, while you're looking those up, I would love to see what it did worldwide, because I have a prediction, and it kind of goes to what we talked about, how while Spider-Man was great, it was a great film,
excellent,
but it wasn't. Yeah, Spider-Man has always been the Superman of Marvel, whether people want to admit that or not. If you do your history,
hands
literally,
down,
Iron Man was never the Batman. He was kind of like a tertiary character until they rejuvenated him with the
if Marvel had the
live-action
rights, they would have
movie.
started off this whole Infinity thing with Spider-Man back in 2008 if they could. Oh, hey,
exactly.
I heard a quick tidbit about, just since we're talking about Spider-Man, where Tom Holland came out and confirmed that in Iron Man 2, do you recall the scene right after where all the robots were hitting the expo? There was a kid in an Iron Man mask and had the glowy thing, and they came out and confirmed that was Peter Parker at the Stark Expo. I just thought that was kind of cool that now they actually did that. Just a fun fact that I came across. Sorry to interrupt the train of thought there. My bad.
That makes perfect sense. But if as you said, if Marvel had gone back and did this all over the way they wanted to do it, their Superman would have been Spider-Man, and their Batman would have been Logan.
Yes.
That's just how it was back in the 90s.
Gave my bones so happy hearing you say that.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's interesting how Marvel did something really ingenious, okay? Because Sony had figured out how to channel that box office attention into Peter Parker being their own Clark Kent of sorts for their series. Marvel did something great. They not only rehabilitated the series, but they also took Spider-Man down a notch or two. They've, in essence, rebooted the same way they rebooted Peter Parker inside the actual comic book series several times over. So, I mean, it's really interesting to see how nefarious and how smart Marvel can be when it comes to protecting their intellectual property, giving it the energy it needs to survive, but at the same time, now it's no longer the intellectual property that holds power over competing with them anymore. Because now you see the box office in the second week has a crazy drop off that I did not predict.
All the way down to,
you guys.
All the way down to 45, and the worldwide numbers on War are just over 100 million. For worldwide on War of Planet of the Apes, and Spider-Man's coming in at worldwide, looking at now it's up to 469, but comparatively.
So here's where the gentleman's bet comes into. Mm. It's time to figure out how these two films are going to fare in the long run with each other, against one another. So, what do you guys think is going to happen now that this has happened? Do you expect Spider-Man to continually have a drop? Do you expect it to have some growth next week? Or do you expect Planet of the Apes to do a slow build? What are you guys seeing happening?
I could see Apes having a slow build just because of the positive response from critics, viewers. Overall it is a very good movie. And I don't know. I didn't expect it to beat Spider-Man either. I'm surprised as you are that it dropped 60%. I don't know. Dunkirk comes out next weekend. That might take some slack off both the movies.
Now that one is gonna. I expect Dunkirk to sell better. Okay. So all right. So here we go. So here's the landscape. So you're saying Dunkirk comes out this coming week?
Correct. I believe so. Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's look this up. Let's go to Box Office Mojo. Everybody on their computers right now.
I'm there.
Because this is how. Oh, I know you got me there. But no. What I'm expecting. Okay, so here's the landscape. We got Spider-Man, who we expected to dominate July. We now know that's not happening anymore. We now have the guy that's splitting a vote, which is War for Planet of the Apes, and then we got Dunkirk. I expect Dunkirk to outsell Spider-Man Homecoming's opening weekend.
So you think Dunkirk's going to do more than 112 million?
The opening weekend, yes.
Well, I know we talked about budget-wise, but Valerian also comes out this weekend too. Now, I don't expect like a monster showing on the opening weekend, but there's a lot of they're like between Dunkirk, Valerian, Spider-Man, and War. Those are obviously going to be the top 4 movies. However,
I expect Valerian to be a huge goose egg, bro. It's not. It's now. We talked about marketing. Now we talked about marketing before. Now this is a movie that's all hype and no substance. These 2 stars have proven to not be able to sell any franchises. We got Harry, and we got Harry Osborn, who was the most terrible, and Enchantress. It's not happening. It's a movie that they spent an incredible amount of money, and it's fake news that this movie is going to do anything but fail. So I expect
want
Valerian
to believe in the
worse.
director. That's what I want to believe in. I want to believe in the director of Fifth Element to bring us a visual masterpiece. I want to go see something incredible, and I know I'll see something awesome with Valerian. I want to just go see an adventure movie with some awesome special effects. Like anything outside of that, I'm happy with.
Valerian will do worse than
Spider-Man.
Than Alien Covenant opening weekend.
Oh, that's definitely not the case.
It'll happen.
But Dunkirk and Spider-Man, like Alien, had no competition, and it still sucked. Like this, at least has a Christopher Nolan movie coming out.
Hey, let's put it.
I think there's a correlation to the rickets outbreak and Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant didn't do so well in due cause to rickets. All right.
Yes. And therefore, Valerian is going to follow the same fate. It's a bad summer for space movies. I'm telling you, it's not going to work. Okay.
It looks like what's the one with Channing Tatum that came out a few years ago?
Yeah, we just talked about that one.
Jupiter Ascending. Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That's not, and then we also had what was the John Carter also didn't do so well either. So Guardians of the Galaxy broke the mold. And that's only because it had Marvel, behind it. So so you can't look at Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, if anything, you could say that Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't as big as it should have been because of the whole space aspect. So there's something about space films right now I don't see is going to do so well. I expect Valerian to do worse than the opening weekend of Ridley Scott's cinematic masterpiece.
Let's put it in. So you've stated Dunkirk will do better opening weekend than Spider-Man. So you predict Dunkirk will do better than $112 million, with Valerian also coming out and War still being out and Spider-Man coming out. You think Dunkirk will bring in at least 112? Do you want to bring that down at least a little bit, or you want to stand by 112 million? Because I just don't see that happening. Not because I don't think it's going to be good. I love everything Chris Nolan does. He tastes so well and eats lots of pineapple. I will watch everything he makes always. But I want to go but I just
if he took a shit in the corner, I'd watch it for 3 hours.
Yes, you know what I mean?
Would you suck a fart out his butt?
I think there'll be 112 million out there to go to Dunkirk just with the other movies out. Not that I don't think it's going to be worth that. If it didn't have anything, if it was just Dunkirk and Valerian, I put that. But just there's other things to pull away from it. Like I think Dunkirk might do 60.
Listen.
Maybe 70.
Here's what I think. I think we're not going to zoom past the fact that you said you were going to suck a fart out this man's butt.
I never said those words.
Hold it like a bong hit, too.
Anyway.
Going all the way back to Memento. I love everything that Chris Nolan does. All the way back.
You got to look at history, though. His previous movies, Inception, opening weekend, 60 million. Let's look at Interstellar. Anything outside of Batman, I should say.
Yeah.
Interstellar opening weekend was 47 million.
That's what I'm saying, dude. There's so many people who want to see Dunkirk, and it is
50 million.
And it is not even the comic book.
Yes.
And it's not even the comic book audience. This is like regular older people at work who, they want to see this thing. So all right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take
that movie
Derreck
that Garfield was in earlier this year, the war
Andrew
one.
Garfield, yeah.
Oh, Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to attract that type of crowd. Is that kind of what you're saying, BK?
Absolutely.
Right,
people who don't normally go to the movie theater are going to come out and see this. All right, here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and concede that with everything out there splitting the vote, it's not a bad idea to bring it down. I'm going to say at least 75 mil.
I would say I expect this to do at least what War did its opening weekend, but that I feel is on the high end just because of just the take and people not going out to the movies. I don't think this is going to do over 55 million opening weekend.
Here we go. It's the gentleman's bet. Here we go. Start that music. All right. So BK says 75 mil for Dunkirk. and less than 40 mil, and less than 40 mil for Valerian.
I don't see Dunkirk doing over 55, and I see Valerian doing about 40. So I agree with you at least there, but I don't see Dunkirk.
No, I'm saying under 40. So you're saying over 40?
I'll take the over on that. No, I don't know. No,
Okay.
I'm not going to take the over on that.
You can't.
I'm not-
You can't just say under 40. Here, I'll say 40, 50 for Dunkirk. I'll go with like 15 million for Valerian opening weekend.
Ooh,
I'll say-
so he agrees.
I'll say 52 for Dunkirk, and I'll say 22 for Valerian. And I'll say that War might beat Valerian this on its second.
War will.
No, for sure.
War and
For
Spider-Man
sure.
will definitely
For sure.
beat Valerian.
So it's going to go
For
Dunkirk.
sure. For sure.
All right. For the perfection, call the top 4 movies.
There you go.
I'm going to say Dunkirk first.
Dunkirk. Yes, go ahead. Yep.
At least
I agree.
52 million. Second one, I'm going to put War. I'm going to throttle that one down to 26 million. 26 million for War.
That's safe. That's safe.
Spider-Man's going to come in. It's going to be close between Spider-Man and Valerian, I feel, on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and put Valerian in front of Spider-Man at 22, and I'm going to put Spider-Man
Nah,
right
I think you
behind it
messed
at
up
20.
there. No,
Because
I think you
Spider-Man
messed up
went
there.
from
Okay.
112 to 45.
Nah, but here's what you're not counting on. What are parents going to have their kids see while they're watching Dunkirk? It's going to be Spider-Man, not
The
War.
people watching
Planet of the Apes.
Dunkirk have kids that are in their 50s.
All right, so apparently every person that has children is over the age of 50 in the United States. No, what I'm saying is if you have
what you mean.
kids who are not old enough to watch, they're going to send them to go see Spider-Man. Because by now they've realized that it's really
I
not
can
that
tell
bad of a
that
movie to let them watch.
as a non-parent that you are, that coming from a parent, I'm not going to go to the theater to send my kids to go see another theater movie in there because they already saw Spider-Man. They're not going to go see it again 2 weeks after it came out. It's going to go Dunkirk. It's going to go War. It's going to go Valerian, and it's going to go Spider-Man.
No,
So sad!
No,
The
Valerian
action!
is going to be no, Valerian is going to be the biggest. No, it's going to be like.
All right, go ahead. Present your numbers.
Okay, just like Nathan said, I already presented. I was the first one to present.
All 4 though. All 4.
Okay,
Oh,
all
we
right.
don't
So
have to
the
do
first.
all
All right, Nate,
four.
go ahead.
Well,
Well, that
I
makes
mean,
it
I-
interesting.
Top five. Give you top 5.
Top 5?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think War has a pretty good chance of holding the top spot over Valerian. Or I mean,
Over
over
Dunkirk?
over Dunkirk. I mean, but
Forget
just
Despicable Me is still out there, y'all.
I would let's say Dunkirk, War, Spider-Man.
That's-
Yeah, I would even say Despicable Me. I could see Valerian opening up
Yes.
at like 5 or 6.
What? 5 or
Not
6?
even.
I agree.
I
agree. That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
Yes,
I'll
because
say it right
Baby
now.
Brothers-
I will say that I don't think Valerian will even break the top 4.
Okay.
I agree. That's why I said top 5. I agree. That's exactly why I said top 5. Thank you. Despicable Me, if I'm telling you, Despicable Me is going to hold a little more steady because it's not really dropped down nearly as much as you would think it would by now. It's still holding pretty steady, consider everything that's out there. I expect it to be first and foremost Dunkirk. Second is I'm going to actually say Spider-Man Homecoming is going to grow. I'm going to say War for Planet of the Apes is going to, well, not grow, but it's going to stay closer to 40.
Maybe like 35.
I'm going to say, I'm going to say War is going to come in third. I'm going to say it'll either be Despicable Me or Dunkirk fighting for 4th place.
Ooh.
What? So you went from predicting 112 down to Dunkirk being 4th place?
I think
No,
you meant
I
to
said
say
Dunkirk
Valerian.
first.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I said
"Dang."
Valerian. Sorry, Valerian. I meant to say Valerian. That's my bad. I said the wrong
Man,
thing.
y'all's opinions of Valerian makes me want to just swap Spider-Man and Valerian, but I'm gonna stand strong on it.
Bro,
It doesn't-
Have you done
it
the
doesn't look
bro,
good.
you need to do the research, bro. And you don't. Have you forgotten that Valerian way overspent on their budget?
Yeah.
No, I'm not worried about their budget. I just want to see what they do opening weekend.
Bro, this is Aquaman. Remember Aquaman from Medellin, dude. This is Medellin. This is the movie that spent so much money to be a success, and it's not gonna work. It's Medellin, dude. Just get ready.
I believe you. Keep in mind, I'm not standing on a completely different side of the fence. I know it's going to be a neat, cool movie to watch. I don't think it's going to be a smash. I'm just trying to look at all these other movies out and trying to really place it in there. I feel that since it's a brand new movie, it might have a bigger draw just because it's a brand new movie. Like, I still think Dunkirk, War, Valerian, Spider-Man, and then Despicable Me. Because you asked for top 5.
All right, so what do we? So do we? There's a couple ways we could do the gentleman's bet. We can either do it based on just the numbers that we just talked about, or we could do it based on the top 5.
Let's do the main one on the numbers, because you predicted 75 for Dunkirk, and I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, let's do it on our predictions for Dunkirk and Valerian numbers.
But Nate thinks it's 50, and I think it's like 52. So I feel like Nate and I are very similar on what we think Dunkirk's going to do.
I'll drop it down to 45 even.
Okay.
To give us, if he gets a drop down, I get a drop down.
Well, I'm dropping mine down.
Then you
$5 million.
Then you drop it down $5 million, so you go down to 70, and I'll drop mine 5 down to 47.
Well, okay. No, I dropped mine down to not be so close to you.
I dropped it down to still be close to you as my spiritual advisor. I want to be
at
close
some
to
point.
You.
I
Just
need to
like
stop holding
me,
your hand through life.
They long to be close to
Well, I think I'll say this. Based on our conversation, it's literally impossible for it to be 70 or 75. Based on what we talked about, you guys brought up some really good points. So I'll concede that that's wrong from the get-go.
All right, so you just want to do a top 5 then? F the numbers?
Let's just do a top 5. Let's do a top 5.
All right.
Because that's what we're talking about.
So to solidify it, BK, you were top 5 at Dunkirk, Spider-Man.
Yes.
You have
War
Dunkirk, Spider-Man. Go ahead.
War for Planet of the Apes. War for Planet of the Apes. I'm going to say Despicable Me 4th and Valerian 5th.
All right. Which is a very believable prediction. I will not be surprised if that happens.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would have the same top 5 as you.
Gotcha.
I think we should just stick to the numbers, because we're all going to have...
So no. I'm going to cut through all this. I'm going to use my skill.
Let's just do Valerian then. Because we're talking about Valerian.
Skill. Let's all get down to what we're really betting here, right? We're all betting on Valerian money. So,
yeah.
So,
yes.
Nate, you think Valerian's going to do 5?
I said 15 million.
Oh, 15 million. I think it'll at least maybe do 20 to 22. And BK, what do you think? I feel like that's really what this bet's coming down on.
Okay. And remember on the previous podcast where you wanted to do it through like within 1 million? This is the bet to do that on. Because I'm thinking it's going to be 19.
You think 19? 19 million. And you think that's good enough? And you think 19 million will be 5th place?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think so. I think Valerian will do the most. BK thinks it'll do the middle. Nate thinks it'll do the least. That's pretty much what this comes down to, right?
Yes. If Jupiter Ascending can open at 18 million, I'm gonna go 15. With
it only opened at 18 million because Channing Tatum was in it, and he's not even in this one. Oh no!
And name the guy who stars in this. Exactly. None of us can think of his name. That guy in that movie I like.
Harry Osborn is his name.
Harry Osborn.
So well.
And you remember
Everybody knows Dane. Everybody knows Dane DeHaan's name. It's a household name. Dane? Come on, Dane. Little DD. Come on. Dane DeHaan. We know this guy.
And Shaky Girl
right?
Witch.
I'm still waiting. He still has the face of a kid who should play the Columbine shooter. I'm just going to say that hot sports.
And playing Dylan Roof is and we're back from that's my bad on that one. That technical difficulty was my fault. Nate, do you have a disclaimer for us?
Yeah, school shootings are no joking matter. We take that very seriously, and yes, here on the Playerway podcast, we don't condone such acts of violence.
No, we don't. We do disclaimers the player way. So, all right. So that takes us for the gentleman's bet. What do you guys got going on for the upcoming week?
Well, I am working and then taking a trip to Atlanta.
Oh, after the party, it's the
after party.
Yep.
Welcome to Atlanta, baby. Exactly. Nate Diesel is coming to Atlanta where the players play. And they ride on the thing like every day.
I think
and the player's a player in every
Party,
way.
if I'm correct, Party doesn't stop
that's
till
what all
8
money
in the morning, I believe.
That's right.
Actually,
exactly
hold on. Let me correct Nate. It's 8 in the morning.
Exactly. In the morning. Exactly. So, yeah,
Shark
so we're
Bar
going to be
with
chilling out,
Frank
maxing.
It's a very early hour.
Exactly. We're going to be chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, and shooting some b-ball outside after school. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're going to be doing. Exactly. You know, a couple of guys, they were up to no good, started trouble in my neighborhood. That's why Nate had to fly out from Bel Air. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's what's going on here. So Nate's going to be hanging out with us. Maybe we might be able to get some podcast action going. Maybe not. What do you think?
I think we'll be able to, boys, because this week is going to be my last week in sales in the department that I'm at, switching departments, which means I have a 4-day weekend ahead of me, which means while Nate is welcomed to Atlanta the player way, and he's going to ride on the things like every day on the black wheels, 18s. He keeps them clean, though, y'all. I've seen the black wheels that BK's got. Y'all don't know him, but I know him. That's what counts. So we might even be able to have...
They 18s, but I keep them clean.
Yes, sir. So that means that Corrupting the Systems might have a Saturday while Nate is in A-Town, and we can get that record on.
That's what's going on. So we're going to be doing that live from the bar. So that's what's going on.
Woo, yes.
Derek, what you gonna be up to this? What you gonna be up to this week, other than getting ready to make that money, bro?
I'm trying to. I am getting. All right, as I mentioned last week, it wasn't the season finale for My Hero Academy, but this week is. So if you haven't yet, BK. This is the week.
Oh, I'm up on it. I'm up on it.
Oh, you're up on that.
Look, how you gonna dance if you really don't want to dance? Look, how you gonna dance if you really don't want to dance?
Hey, by standing on the wall? Psh, get your back.
Look, I got my back up off the wall, man. You know what I'm saying? I watch my. So put it out to that,
dude. This tournament in this, I know my top two animes right now are Dragon Ball Super and My Hero Academia, which are both in tournament mode right now. And the tournament on My Hero Academia is just so intense. I mean, you're just following this kid, and I'm just going back to get up on that.
Well, you know the tournament. Well, no, the tournament is over. Are you up to date on?
No. Well, yeah, that's why I'm saying that's what. By the time people are hearing this, you know what I'm saying? I'm recording it because that's what I'm going to be up to this week. So I'm going to be leading up to that.
I got you.
We can talk about everything.
Up.
Yes,
I got you.
Jumping on.
I got you. Jumping on.
Yes, sir.
What I'm going to be up to this week, we are back. We are returning back to the world of Fire and Ice. Ladies and gentlemen, it's back. It is back. Game of Thrones is back. No spoilers on this cast. If you watched it this past Sunday, you already know what the business is. We are all excited, and we are going to be talking about Game of Thrones next week when we come onto the show. So absolutely, that's how we do it.
The player.
Exactly. Do it. Exactly. Go ahead and do it. Do it clean, bro.
The player way.
Exactly.
I'll be checking out Valerian.
There's nothing else.
At my...
Yes, I'll be ruining my own bet.
Can you
by
both
paying
please
for that
go
movie.
see that together on Saturday? I need you both to go see that, please, just so I can have that. Conversation.
We will go see. In fact, we will be going to see Despicable Me 3 just to
spite. Please. Now, I would love. All right, BK. It's been a while since you've seen a movie that you just absolutely abhorred. Come on, man. Do the fans a favor so we can hear them hot sports opinions when you talk about it. Be like, so I saw Valerian, and when I woke up at the credits, I can only imagine what you would say. Come on, man.
I did in Sahara, man. No, Sahara is the last terrible movie I will volunteer to go see ever in life.
Sahara back in like 2007?
Yes, dude. I went and saw that movie, and yes, I had to do an actual article for it for the newspaper I worked for, and it was I hated that movie so bad. Such a waste.
That's a good. Hey, what we should do that sometime. What was the last terrible movie you saw, or just what group those in? So Sahara, man. So you have a 10-year streak of seeing good movies, man. What is your secret?
I said I said voluntarily going to see a terrible movie.
Oh,
I didn't say I
okay.
haven't seen them.
Okay, I was like,
voluntarily
hey,
going
I need to
out
know your
there
secret, man.
knowing good and damn well it was going to be.
Because my last
Shit
movie was
sauce
Alien Covenant,
all over on
which brought in $17.32.
Yes, one man in Atlanta, Georgia went and saw it twice this week. Trying to support my local hustle. But anyway, that's going to do it for this week's Playaway Podcast, brought to you by co-captains Derreck.
That's me corrupting the system. You already know.
Nate.
Still slowly trying to put the system back together. It's been a struggling process with Derreck.
And your boy BK.
Just
Exactly. Stop him out. All right, we'll holler at y'all next week. The Playaway.
Peace out, Rabbit.
Tank, I need an
Thanks for listening to the Playaway Podcast. Recorded in a single take from Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, by Nathan Petersen, Derek Lewis, and BK Jackson. Our opening theme is titled Bound by Ricky Remedy, courtesy of Elysian Records. And our closing theme is titled Coconut King Diaries by Xander, spelled Zahnder. You can find this music by both Ricky Remedy and Xander, and many more tracks on SoundCloud. And remember, no matter what choices you make or paths you follow, just make sure you do it the player way. See you next week.